With the start of World War II, in 1939, Vargas maintained neutrality until 1941, when an agreement, proposed by Brazilian Foreign Relations Minister Oswaldo Aranha, was formed between American continental nations to align with any American country in the event of an attack by an external power. Due to this agreement, from Pearl Harbor, Brazil's entering the war became just a matter of time. American policy also financed Brazilian iron and steel extraction and placed military bases on the Brazilian north-northeast coast, headquartered in Natal. With the conquest of Southeast Asia by Japanese troops, Getulio signed a treaty, the Washington Accords, in 1942, which provisioned the supply of natural rubber from the Amazon to the Allies, resulting in the second rubber boom and the forced migration of many people from the drought-stricken northeast to the heart of Amazonia. These people were known as soldados de borracha, rubber soldiers. Carmen Miranda was a symbol of the good neighbor policy, which consisted of a closer relationship with the United States to Latin America. After the sinking of over 25 Brazilian merchant ships by German and Italian submarines throughout 1942, popular mobilization forced the Brazilian government to abandon its passiveness and declare war on Germany and Italy in August 1942. Popular mobilization to make the war declaration effective, with the dispatching of Brazilian troops to Europe, continued, but a decision by the Brazilian government to actually send troops to fight the enemy was only made in January 1943, when Vargas and the U.S. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt met in Natal, where the first official agreement was made to create an expeditionary force, BEF. In July 1944, the 1st BIF Group was sent to fight in Italy, and, despite being poorly equipped and trained, it accomplished its main missions. Soon after the war, however, fearing the BIF's popularity and possible political use of the Allied victory by some BIF members, the then Brazilian government decided to make demobilization effective, with the BIF still in Italy. Returning to Brazil, its members were also subjected to some restrictions. Civilian veterans were forbidden from wearing military decorations or uniforms in public, while military vets were transferred to regions far from great cities or to border garrisons. The events related to Brazilian participation in the war and the ending of the conflict in 1945 strengthened pressures in favor of redemocratization. Although there were some concessions by the regime, such as the setting of a date for presidential elections, amnesty for political prisoners, the freedom to organize political parties, and a commitment to choose a new constitutional convention, Vargas was not able to retain support for the continuation of his presidency and was deposed by the military in a surprise coup launched from his own war ministry on October 29, 1945. Once Vargas was deposed, the military summoned his legal deputy, José Linhares, the president of the Supreme Federal Court, Brazil's Chief Justice, to assume the presidency. The office of vice president had been abolished, and no legislature had been elected under the 1937 Constitution, so that the president of the Supreme Court was the first person in the line of succession. José Linhares immediately summoned elections for president and for a constituent assembly. The elections were held in December 1945, and José Linhares remained in office only until the inauguration of the assembly and of the elected president, General Eurico Gaspar Dutra, which took place on January 31, 1946. The inauguration marked the end of the Estado Novo and the beginning of the Fourth Brazilian Republic.